All right, we are back with a NoGi Drillers guide session, and today's session is we're gonna add 3 sessions into one video. So right now we're drilling with Austin, and we're working on a half guard, framing on the armpit, butterfly, and then going into the saddle with the reap and going for the heel hook. And I really enjoyed this series, mostly because I've spent 10 years now in Jiu-Jitsu, and probably 6 months of that has been training leg locks. And I've always been halfway decent at hiding my legs because I don't like to get into leg entanglements. But the really cool part now is that I'm trusting myself more and more on the right way to go with leg locks. I'm not having as much fear as I used to have when I play the leg lock game with people. So the thing that I really like about this series is it gives me the heel hook, and it's giving me the knee bar. It's giving me different little paths, and I never really thought about going this direction with it. You'll see where I kind of invert, and then I backstep the leg and get into the leg entanglement, and then after that we switch it to the knee bar. So we invert, we get the leg lock, we bite down on the heel, but then right here I use my outside foot to make sure that he can't turn into me to free his leg. It's a good series. It's really one of those things that you can see the elevation, the making sure that I get underneath Austin, and make sure the thing that I really got from it is the arm frame and the armpit helps immensely. I never really thought about that until I want to say that I was watching Giles do a video, and the way that he framed under there to get an entry into the leg locks. So most of the things that I am incorporating is, of course, Jiu-Jitsu is 100% stolen or taken from other sources, and I don't know. I'll never know who invented what or who invented any aspect of Jiu-Jitsu. I don't feel like I've necessarily invented anything. My biggest focus is that I'm just trying to perfect the flow of my technique and making sure that I'm aware of every step that I take, the next transition that I need to take after that step, so that I'm never freezing and I'm never getting stuck in place or not having a different direction. So that's this drilling session, and we're gonna pop into the next drilling session, which is I wanted to work a little bit more on wrestling. And this year at Pans, I spent the most time on my feet than I've probably ever spent in 10 years of competition. And not that I did horrible, it's just that it's still new to me to have the confidence to stand up with someone and trust my wrestling and trust my counter game. So that's the goal this year, is to definitely trust my confidence on being on my feet, trust my hand fighting, trust my posture and my base, and not be afraid to stand up with someone when it comes to wrestling or whatever we're gonna do. So right now what I'm working on is just when Brandon's reaching for me or Brandon's going for clubbing my head, and to throw the arm by, to set up the Russian, to duck under, and then from there we start to build it up a little bit more. So like at first what we're doing is we're just getting his arm off of our head, we're looking at angles, we're looking for duck unders, and we're getting a little bit more confident. And I've always enjoyed, like, arm drag and duck unders are the two that I've probably drilled the most in my life. So it's not something that is new to me, but I definitely need more confidence in the reps. And the big thing is, it's easy to drill on a partner that just stands there and adds no correct resistance. That's easy. So with Brandon, the thing that I really like is he's always trying to make sure that there's a realistic like concept behind the technique, right? Not that we just do the motions and we get the reps in. You know, we'll still do that, but a lot of times the drill builds up now to where it's getting right now. And now it's getting to the point where I really like it. So I'm looking at, you know, throwing his arm by and then tying him up with the Russian tie and then shooting to the side to get the single leg, and then when he's pushing my head down to reshoot the duck under. So we come here, we shoot the single leg, we pop the arm up, and then we get right to his back. And that, by the end of the sequence, felt incredibly smooth. That it was something not necessarily that I'll hit in tournament, but it's I love having a direction to go in the sport. Okay, the submissions are great, the sweeps are great, positions are great, but I feel like people's biggest weakness is their transition from one place to the next. And I don't think a lot of people put a lot of thought into how do I get to the next sequence, how do I get to the next place, you know, in the best controlled manner. And so that's what I enjoyed with this drilling session. The next drilling session we're going to get into, I want to say we're back with Austin. And I want to say we're just playing a little bit of like an open guard. So it's controlling the wrist, going inverted, coming to the omoplata, going to the triangle. It's going out slow. So it's like basically like a modified lasso. And then I'm going with the omoplata, but then I'm looking for exactly how to make sure that I control the next sequence. And again, it's all transitions. So if you notice, almost everything in this driller's guide has been perfecting transitions as smooth as possible and making every little piece count, right? So how I'm controlling the wrist, how I'm controlling the elbow, how I'm doing the inversion, how I'm looking at his hip, how I'm locking in the triangle, how I'm getting his arm to come across his body. And I'm building that flow up so that when I add it live, there's no hesitation, there's no delay, there's no wondering what the next step is. It's going right to it. And so, you know, we got the omoplata, now we're adding the arm bar, now we're adding the triangle and the angle. We go back, and then I think we even start to connect like the arm drag in. So we skip from the omoplata, right? We feed the arm, we have the base lasso, or where he might leg weave us, and then we're looking at, okay, now we arm drag across the body, now we go for the arm bar. And the big thing that I've noticed this year with my jiu-jitsu is try to make sure you have two sides to be able to attack the body. Don't just focus on one part of the body, right? So don't just focus on the left leg or the right leg, the left arm or the right arm. Really have your sequence of you're gonna attack, you know, these three things on this leg, and you're gonna attack these three things on this leg. And they don't all have to be the same. I mean, if you want to see if you can perfect both techniques on both sides, right? So let's say, you know, I can do the Kimura perfectly on both sides. The problem with that, though, that I've noticed is you have sides that you're so much more comfortable with that you forget and you just throw away the other side because it's not there. And I'm sure it's different for some competitors. I've been doing this for 10 years and I've done hundreds of thousands of reps now. So for me, I'm gonna have a side that I like to pass better on, and I'm gonna have, so think about it like this. I like doing certain passes to the left, and then I have certain passes that I want to do to the right. And a lot of it is what you're allowing and what you're accepting is what's making your game and attack so much more difficult. So if you're trying to incorporate, like, let's say you're trying to do both sides. I'm trying to do Kimuras on both sides, and you know, when things are going live, now I'm waiting for my opponent to give me whatever I want them to give me so that I can do my move. And now you're becoming a counter-based player instead of an offense-based player. So, and is that bad? Maybe not, you know, it could work. But the big thing is, at the end of it, I don't want to necessarily always be a counter-based player, okay? Because then I'm always waiting for my opponent to make step 1, 2, or 3 so that I can make step, you know, 4, 5, or 6. When in reality, I just want to make step 1, 2, and 3, and maybe they make step 4, and then I'm making step 5, 6, 7. It's just, you're gonna win decisions better if the match goes to a decision. That's just a fact. The person that's pushing step 1, 2, and 3 is what's the ref looking at, okay? Unless you get a biased ref or you get whatever the situation is. I used to do a lot of counter playing, and I lost a lot of decisions whenever it went to a ref's decision. So you've got to be the person that's initiating. And if you're playing a counter-based game where you're waiting for your opponent to give you what you need, you're not going to get decisions. You're just going to hope to get submissions off the counters. So really focus on doing the techniques that are going to be efficient for you in your game, right? So to me, I'm going to do the Kimura on this side and swim it to this technique and that technique. But on the other side, I'm going to be doing the arm drags and, you know, the back chases or whatever it is, the series. I have 3 to 6 series on one side of the arm. I have 3 to 6 series on the other side of the arm. And that's what's going to build your arsenal up and give your game a little bit more diversity. So that is it for this series, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me and watching all 3 episodes. Have a great day.